Ooh, okay, well, I would want to see something that is a winning top lane matchup for Bin. He has not been on the favorable side of a lot of these matchups so far in this series, and when we've seen it, when we've obviously, I just also want to say we can get rid of Kog'Maw. We're done with Kog'Maw. That experiment is done and dusted. We can put it back into the like. I'm just done with it. We don't have to worry about that for right now. But for BLG, I do want to see Bin a little bit more, give him some more expression, right? Give him some freedom in what he's able to do up there, because if we're getting tank versus tank matchups versus ZDZ, then that's a free lane for him, and that means that they can go into team fights with something a little bit more even, especially since we know Bin to be such a good carry player when we need him to, such a great fighter player, and it's when we see him on the Gragas, the Malphite, that are not exactly his shining moments.
Absolutely, and look, they're going to go back towards the Milio. This time, though, is going to give over the Aphelios and the Cassante over to the side of AL, so they're getting themselves some pretty big power picks now, right now. I wouldn't mind maybe seeing maybe the Xayah or possibly the Jinx with the Milio can be an exceptionally powerful pick, but no, BLG straight away saying, look, we need to get shown into some more of a kind of a carry potential, and with the Annie banned away as well, the Maokai and the Jace coming straight out for this mid-jungle duo.
Alright, we're picking up a Jace, a flexible pick here. If Bin is going to be able to take it, it does leave themselves open. Annie being taken away, I think, is really interesting, because now Yagao is going to have to think of some other champions who are going to be able to pick. Syndra is the most likely, and now anyone's Legends with the Diana.
Okay, I'm liking where this is going right now. The Diana can be a flex into mid lane technically, but it is predominantly a jungler, and that honestly might lead to BLG kind of saying, look, do we need to ban away the Yasuo? Something that, like, you know, a Yasuo-Diana combination that has been seen quite a few times.
I wonder, yeah, that's my first thought, right? Because BLG, that's the first thing you have to be thinking of is Yasuo into Jace matchup. That's exactly what they want to do, so they get rid of it. And so now here for anyone's Legends, you had to have known that Yasuo was going to get banned. So what is your response here? Are you going to kind of all in on this Diana pick? Maybe you put it into mid lane to try to deal with Jace in a side lane, and someone has to, if Harder is going to play Diana mid, this is like the first time in forever that I've seen that champion in a solo lane.
Yeah, they ban away the Blitzcranks. They're leaving Zora onto something like the Lulu that he could pick up here, no problem whatsoever, no questions asked. Even the Nautilus as well. Honestly, I would have just preferred the Lulu ban outright, just to kind of say, look, we're not going to go into this Enchanter versus Enchanter, especially with an Aphelios on the enemy team, so we're going to get rid of it. But the Zeri and the Xayah all taken away. The Nautilus gets picked up here for AL. They've got a hell of a lot of knockups. They don't have a Yasuo to go for right now, but they could go straight for a Yone as well.
Yone is definitely an option for them. For BLG, it's very risky, especially when they have an Nautilus on the other team, but Cassiopeia as an angle has been something that we've been seeing a lot of in North America, and could be something that they're going to actually end up, they could end up going for the swap, but what am I talking about? It's Cassiopeia, North America, we're an LPL. I should have known better than that to be talking about a mobile mid-mages here, as Gnar is actually going to be the pick here for Bin, and anyone's Legends, they have kind of their pick of the litter here as to what they want to go for. ZDZ did not have a great performance on the Gangplank last time, and is going to pivot away from that.
Pivot away a little bit, but the Camille gets locked and loaded here, so it's going to be a Cassante into that mid lane. The Camille going up towards that top side, so yeah, BLG definitely feeling a little bit more comfortable with the options available to them. Should be able to kind of get better engages comparatively to the last game, but AL are no slouches. So many potential ways of getting on top of this Jinx, and you can't cleanse away a Hextech Ultimatum. It's just not possible. So, or a Nautilus Ultimate, so there's actually quite a bit here that the Milio's not going to be able to kind of deal with.
Right now, from where AL are standing, this is a good spot to be in. You have a great matchup in the top side. Mid lane is going to be we're going to negate the fact that there's a Jace in this game, and Aphelios versus Jinx, we've seen it time and time again here now with a Nautilus ultimate, like you were saying, uncleansable, not something that they can avoid. This is a position where anyone's Legends, if they play their cards right, I think they have an advantage here to potentially go and take this series.
That's it. Look, on paper, you look at the names on your screen right now, you probably don't know any of the names on anyone's Legend, and you know a fair few of them from BLG. You're probably thinking, yeah, they got the Jinx, they got the Milio, they got this, but I mean, the way this series is played out, AL have been able to catch out this Elk, you know, AD carry on so many different occasions. They've made their compositions work for how they needed them to get the games to win. For BLG, they need to try and step up just a little bit more, not giving away silly kills or silly objectives in the early stages. And we'll have to wait and see as we are about to jump onto the Rift for the third game of the series, the 6th game of the day and the final game of our broadcast. And we're going to see if BLG can keep their undefeated series streak or if AL can be taking a scalp off of the start of Week 3.
Oh. Big changes for this series is that Lucian being gone. It means that Elk does have the ability to actually interact yet again. These first 2 games, when the first game we saw the Zeri wasn't able to deal all that much damage to Jichoyi, and then second game, like we just saw, Elk just got manhandled by these 2. So now here, having to play the Aphelios versus Elk is the champion that we had seen. It's a champion that he has a ton of games on, but in this season so far, in this split, has not found too much success, but that could be said for a lot of games here from anyone's Legend so far.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely feel like that is a fair one. I will say, Sean going towards that red smite immediately tells me he's going for the full AP build. So
yes.
Definitely going to be curious to see how that ends up working out. I will say most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah, there are a few options here. I've been seeing a lot of different things. Obviously, Imperial Mandate is one of the kind of supportive ones if you really want to go for it. What I saw most recently, and I think is probably going to be likely, we're going to get a Demonic Embrace going into a Redemption, so you can stack that max HP and just deal a ton of damage as this Maokai. And seeing this Maokai for Shun means that they just want so much control in the river. You can throw those saplings, it's a good way of face checking. I want to see what this Diana can do. We are so used to seeing Diana with a Yasuo pairing that by itself, I don't know how I feel.
I mean, it is kind of the secondary to the Yasuo carry, but definitely not something to be sneezed at, shall we say, that the damage that can be available to something like this, as we do see a level 2 being hit up here by Elk and On. Look, the Jinx Aphelios matchup is as tale as old as time. You end up having a range matchup, and Aphelios is just not really a champion level 1, so you kind of just lose out on that thing. And this is the thing with the Diana. Haven't seen it since 2022, nearly a full year, 324 days, almost there at the year. And it was actually JDG versus BLG, and at the time it was Khan, the jungler, who picked it out for BLG.
That's insane. Wow, that's we've got a full new a brand new face for BLG. We've got almost a year before. I think it'd be very fitting for them and a little poetic if AL were able to take this game. But still, pretty early on, Elk and them getting chip damage already 3 minutes in. They've taken a turret plate here, which is huge.
I was going to say, how did that wave get that big? That was an absurdly large wave to be crashing in right there, and meant that the chip damage on the turret and the chip damage on the players is very, very significant now. I'm not quite sure exactly how that went down, but look, I digress, and we'll see how they all kind of want to go for it. But again, more and more we're seeing just pressure coming out from Xiaohao as he looks to try and maybe be a bit of a nuisance here into this jungle. Will be spotted out just about there onto the Scuttle Crab, so maybe Yuga wants to steal away with an accelerated shock blast. Not going to be really in range. I say that almost was, and Xiaohao does to confirm himself the Scuttle, but there's Shun. Maybe wants to go for a move on the spot side. No defensive summoners. It's just flashes. They have aggressive summoners here, so they have no heal, no barrier. They're going to look to try and fully dive on top of this one here. They're going to jump straight in on top of the Aphelios. Can they get the damage down? He flashes, and there's the Jinx getting excited. Elk will finally get himself to walk away. A beautiful tanking of the tower there from the BLG bot side.
Great. Getting your first blood for this Jinx is exactly what you want to see when we're talking about this hyper carry. And hey, Shun makes it happen. He is wide. This is a more BLG typical game. Shun gets early action, goes for a dive, is either able to grab kills or completely excise the bottom lane of the opponent away from this. Get resources into Elk, and now it is with Emilio, so it won't open up on to start to roam, but BLG getting an advantage. Elk is so good when you can get him a little bit more gold. We get to take a look at this dive again. I mean, that's the ghost gone. Both of them saving their flashes, rightfully so. Oh, wait, Jichoyi just doesn't have flash anymore. That's a repeat gank waiting to happen.
I mean, it has to be, right? Again, just having that extra range of the extra power, great tanking from everyone involved, and you can see Bin just kind of making the most of this now on the top side, saying, look, I've got to be able to get himself a demolish proc, move himself forward, and he's going to be feeling just fine. Nice little knockback there from the Milio to make sure that he doesn't take as much of a bad trade, but it's still pretty bad. Diana coming down. Xiaohao maybe looking to try and repay the favor. This time around, no flash or heal onto On. Yeah, he's just going to try and maybe confirm this one back. I don't even think they get a plate, though, to be perfectly honest, because it's just not a big enough wave.
Not big enough, and even if it had gone down, Shun was on his way. He's actually going to lose out on his Raptors here because of this. So good play from AL, and honestly, just nice movement of them to kind of somehow circumvent around each other. But the pings are coming out. They wanted to try and make this play onto Aphelios, but Jichoye is going to move away and just catch this wave. So AL, despite going down on a little bit of gold, you know, it's only just the first blood that makes up the gold difference. They're feeling very, very good with where they're at right now. Diana is getting closer and closer to level 6, and right now, Shun is behind.
Definitely to be expected. Diana is a bit of a hard farmer in that jungle position, so definitely a little bit easier for the Diana to sort of burn through these camps very early on, even as the blasting one, to add in that extra little bit of damage there with the AP, but see what they can kind of work for right now. Level 6 is going to be hitting pretty close now for most of the solo laners, if not the junglers, fairly soon. There's no massive amounts of mana on ZDT, but you got to feel this in your bones now, Bin. You got to know that he's like, hang on, he's not got a huge amount of mana, and he's just walking up to me right now, and he's going to bait out absolutely everything, even the hop. There's the Hexag Ultimatum. This is just beautiful from ZDZ, recognizing the exact amount of time he needed to wait. They're going to get 2 flashes out, but Bin is still going strong. Bin looking to try and move this backwards. He can't kill him. Oh, just about get him with the Crescent Strike. Xiaohao needed to make sure that worked, otherwise Bin would have had egg all over their faces.
Yes, Bin no longer has the flash, no longer has the teleport either. So ZDZ with this wave coming in, he's going to be able to teleport back in. Yagao barely spots him on the exit here, and it's just going to pick up all of this wave. BLG cannot answer this play, and it leaves for both of the solo laners of anyone's Legends to get extra gold in their back pocket, including a turret plate here for Harder.
Have a look at the kind of ways that this can kind of work out now for the side of BLG. But I mean, again, I gotta give massive props over to AL. They just baited that out so well for ZDT, just recognizing, hey, if I just let him go in on top of me, we waste all of his kind of big disengages. We know we can get at least the flash out of him, if not the kill. So really well done there by AL to keep their top side very, very relevant. And it's exactly what I want to be seeing with them having the Diana. The Diana is such a huge skirmisher in these early stages that it needs to be getting those early kills as often as possible.
And the more gold into Diana that you can get, similar to most other carries in this game, you're going to be feeling very, very strong. You're going to be feeling like there's a way for you to go for this. And BLG in a tough spot here now, where Diana's starting to pick up gold. The Aphelios is going to be picking up a plate, and you're not all that far ahead of them. Even losing the dragon here for the side of BLG is a pretty big error, but I think it's just because that Zora backed. They thought, hey, their bot lane could move up. We saw that Yagao was starting to cheat over. Just decide to give up the dragon, and BLG just get a Herald now.
I mean, the thing is like, you know, we have perfect vision, we have perfect information.
For sure, exactly.
For Xiaohao, and Xiaohao, oh, why didn't he just take it? Why didn't he just kind of go for it? He didn't have that information. Look at the bot side. He had 0 wards to be able to tell him where the jungler was, where anybody was moving in from, and there was no priority in that mid lane either. So I appreciate the idea from Xiaohao to kind of say, look, I don't want to just give away a free kill and the dragon, so just gives up the dragon for the moment, doesn't have to worry about giving over too much in favor over to the side of BLG.
Well, I want to see what Shun is able to do with this Herald now, as Xiaohao should be a kill on a Bin.
That is just too damn easy there. You get the Moonfall coming all the way down, and this is just going to become the way it is now, I think, for Bin. Really not respecting the top side of the map at all. Yes, he's ahead on CS, yes, he's a Gnar, but I mean, without flash and without ways of getting away from this Hexag Ultimatum, you just can't go for those kind of aggressive trades.
He doesn't have flash, and the Mega Gnar specifically just wasn't available. So ZDZ is going to continue to compile this lead. He's getting closer and closer to the Divine Sunderer. And now here, BLG, they still have the Rift Herald in their back pocket, and they're getting closer to contesting this Dragon. Xiaohao does not have the Diana ultimate, which I think would be a much bigger impact. You make sure you want to have this for this fight. Otherwise, this is just not an objective we're going to be contesting.
It might look to still go for it. No Moonfall available for Xiaohao, so it wouldn't be the greatest of fights. And yeah, AL think the better of it. It was more just posturing than anything else to make sure that BLG committed the resources, which they did, because Bin had to rotate down. And that does mean the first Dragon of the game goes over to BLG. Now, AL, where do you want to try and move this pressure? You're going to have the Moonfall back in a couple of seconds. They are going to see that the Diana is there, and yeah, you can block it with the Nautilus, use his Spider-Man skills, and get himself straight to safety. So a little bit of a lackluster ult there from Sean as he does have the Rift Herald. Imagine he's going to try and drop it down here and maybe get this elk, AD carry going.
They could get the whole turret here. Xiaohao's ultimate is up. It's going to be a majority of these plates. They're getting so much damage onto Jichuyi. And Yagao waiting over the wings, trying to get as much chip damage. Look at the two of them. Just putting down damage. Yeah, this turret is going down within the next play. So Xiaohao going to instead move over to other sides.
Or is it? Xiaohao has flash. Could go in on top of this one here. He's going to look for it. Flashes in. The Moonfall hits on the 2, but it's immediately cleansed away to get knocked up. And they're going to keep themselves healthy with this Milio. Harder did TP in to try and make something work here, but just a little bit too late on the play. Yes, it's a good idea from the side of AL to protect the tower, but it's kind of just leading to the same result.
Now Yagao gets alone time in the mid lane. Should be able to hit this turret a few times, get a plate for himself. BLG going to be experiencing some gold influx across multiple members here, and hopefully this means that Yagao is closer to finishing either a mythic or getting that legendary item that he is looking for, as Elk so close to finishing, Cole so close to finishing another item here. Looks like he's going for that Storm. No, this is this Storm Razor?
Kraken, I believe.
Oh, yeah, well, there is some front line he's going to be dealing with. ZDZ.
I mean, Bin is in a 1v3.
Okay. Alright, observers, this feels mean. This feels mean for BLG
feels
fans.
A little mean.
There's a lot of them in the crowd.
Yeah, it feels a little mean, but I mean, Bin is 0-3 right now, and I mean, look, it happens. Bin having a little bit of an off series, shall we say, today, and look, it happens to the best of us.
Literally, it does happen to the best of us here, as Bin just hasn't really found his footing so far. It's been, it's been rough coming back from London. I said that most of this team has not experienced the MSI hangover, the international hangover coming back. But
no, because they didn't win, that's why.
well, there you go, exactly. They have been still in his kind of inconsistent era in terms of laning phase so far, and showing no signs of really breaking that in this game, because now ZDZ is a level ahead. Is now going to. This is okay, guys. Come on.
Come on, guys. He's just a baby. He's just a little boy. This is just not fair. This is bullying, AL. I won't have it.
He's worth 176 gold. He's worth as much as his turret play, guys. I don't think it's worth it. I just don't think that's going to be the play. We have Dragon spawning at 2 minutes, a Rift Herald in a minute 30, and we'll see what they can do, as now BLG, they've gotten the turret for their bot laner. Elk getting a small advantage here with not only kills for himself, but also more and more of those turret plates as they're about to fall. He's going to cover this top side, and they're going to look to try and grab at least a little bit of damage onto this top tier 1.
I mean, straight up, this is moving on to kind of like, psychological warfare coming in on top of Bin. They're just like, look what, we're going to tilt you off the face of the earth. We don't care about the Jinx having a 30 CS lead, a kill, and an entire plate worth of a tower worth of plates on the bot side. We're just going to keep going. I actually think Elk probably gets this tower as well, so I mean, it's going to be difficult to really kind of defend against this. And yeah, I mean, that's just the tower going over. So Elk is the carry. Elk is the bigger brother right now, and he is hearing word from his friends that his little brother Bin is getting bullied at school, and he's not going to have it.
No more. Everyone leave him alone. This is who you're hurting, okay? You're just hurting a kid, okay? He's just a little guy. He's literally playing the most little guy skin in the game. Just why? Why? Like, obviously this is someone who has a bunch of international experience, not just from this year, but come on. Like, this is one of those memes where it's like they show like a cute animal. It's like, this is who you're hurting when you're being mean to someone on the internet. Okay? You don't want to do. No, Xiao Hao, get away from here!
No,
They're gonna make the dive
he
again.
knows. He knows. He has to know. He's trying to kill away the towers. They're gonna jump straight in on top of him with Hexac Ultimatum, and Pin is all 5 of the deaths. But now can Yagao come back into this one? That's a 1 kill coming back in. Harder looking for this, but the tower's already stacked up. 2 for Yagao, and the bullying of Bin shall be no more. ZDZ flashes in to try and make something happen. Will not get knocked back here. Will get hit by a hell of a lot of artillery, but shall not die. What Elk does in his stead, so not quite sure what happened there, but Elk got caught out on the backside of that play.
Yagao says, no one kills my top laner 5 times in a row and gets away with it, okay? I'm gonna get my kills. Gets 2 kills in the interim. Elk falling there is a
Bin wants
pretty
revenge.
big mistake. Okay,
Bin
wants this wave, I think. I think Bin wants some gold in his back pocket at this point. He's gonna be hurting for a little bit. All of that means that BLG will grab the 2nd dragon of this game. And this is just a mess. I think that both of these teams are starting to get down in the dirt, get a little sloppy with each other, because we're just getting all kinds of like weird guerrilla tactics. Usually when we're talking about Elk, he is just safe by himself. As we get to take a look at this replay, just out of Mega Gnar, tries to clear this wave. It's just painful. I hope we get a replay of what happened in that top side or against Elk, because he is usually one of the safer AD carries. Usually he's playing away from his support, and this time around just gets caught.
I'm trying to see how he gets caught, because you can see on the minimap he's fine.
Oh, he just walks
he just
Nautilus.
walks into the Nautilus. Yeah, the minimap unfortunately will go away there. But here it is. Thank you so much, observers. Yeah, just walks in, got caught. That's literally as simple as it gets.
All right, fair enough. Still, a bit of a misposition and a bit of an error here for Elk, who typically isn't one to make one. As they drop the Rift Tail, they're going to open up this map. BLG, early game aside, now that we're here at about 17 minutes, this feels a lot more to what we should be expecting from the #1 team. The first 2 games, a little bit sloppy, obviously. Game 1 was just all gas, no brakes. And Game 2, kind of all over the place. I think they were recovering a little bit in this early game, but now BLG are very handily taking control of this map. I think they're done. They don't want any more silly business. I think they've given enough over to AL, and they want to win.
Yeah, I mean, I know who is definitely done is Yagao, the big brother. Yago's coming in and saying, all right, you guys had your fun, AL, but I am not going to let you guys bully Bin without some kind of consequences. You will get your shots in. That's the way these fights go, but will you be able to kind of step up to me afterwards? That is the real question. We will see now. Everyone kind of going on a bit of a reset right now. They're looking to try and make this one work. Triforce finally finished up for Bin as he desperately tries to finish off his call to get some kind of money back into his pocket. Nearly got the Ravenous Hydra finish up for ZDZ, so his side lane pressure is going to be very, very significant coming into these mid to late game team fights, or even just mid to late game rotations.
Bin right now is like, I wish I was playing Jax so I could build Zonias, because it's the only... Ah, and I get the blue buff stolen away from me, man.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
It's sad, and there's a turret going down. He spent all of this time because he wanted to say, I'm going to take the blue buff, move into top side, and try to contest CDZ. Good call here from the top laner of AL to let as many minions die as possible so that whoever's going to pick up this wave, most likely Bin, gets very little from it. And now Elk and squad, they're stepping up way too far. This pincer maneuver.
This is a big pincer maneuver. They're trying to jump onto Elk, but Elk's gotten himself away for the moment. Will he get some resets? That is the question. Jump straight now onto straight on top of Harder, but Harder hasn't gone all out just yet. They will take out the Maokai. This Jinx is still doing damage. You got to be so careful with how you position yourself, especially with those accelerated shock blasts coming in from the side. It's only a 1-for-none trade, but it does feel like the health bars are still in favor of the side of BLG, and they will get themselves that turret.
A minute and 30 before the next dragon as well. That kill is completely worth for BLG. Yes, it's Shun, who did use the flash in that situation, but look at what he got on the opposite end. A teleport from ZDZ and a couple of ultimates as well before this next dragon. It's Soul Point coming up for BLG, and if I'm them, I'm saying it's worth here, for sure. We used Flash there to kill our Maokai?
I mean, it's definitely a moment there. I don't know why Harder doesn't try and go all out there right on top of Elk, but
yeah,
it just feels like
that part was a little bit weird. Maybe he wasn't close enough to the wall and it would have just like It would have pinned him
Possibly,
up against the wall, but still, like, feels like AL, maybe not all firing at the same cylinder, all of the target acquisition was not perfect there, and it leads to AL having a less than lackluster engage.
Absolutely, I definitely feel like they got a little bit too hypey about getting in on top with the Diana. Again, like, yes, it is an AP Maokai, but he's got a plenty of health bar to kind of burn himself through. And ZDZ now moving towards this dragon to see if he can maybe contest it just a little bit. They have spotted out this ward, and now ZDZ needs to kind of just hook shot himself out. Yeah, the Jace coming in now to defend this mid lane. See if they end up making this work in as Harder joins in as well. This is going to be a poke war, you would imagine, that BLG should be able to win with these accelerated shock blasts. We are going to see the ultimate come out because they know that Bin is getting into Mega. They're going to throw everything at them now, and they're going to try and take them all out. Massive move there from Bin to say he is no longer the little boy he used to be. There's going to be the Aphelios, though, using the damage. Look at this, Aphelios with the chakrams going in right now. Yagao is massive at the moment, though, as he's trying to see if he can make this one work. It's still the Aphelios alive, but he's just separated from his team. Yagao refuses to let BLG lose this game.
It's a 3-for-2 in favor of BLG, and they'll grab the dragon as well, even with the jungler of anyone's legend. Jichoyi, instead, even just trying to say, on, you can't do anything, man. I'm a fed Aphelios in this situation. You're not going to be able to stop me. I'm going to grab the turret from my team. I'm going to make this as worth as I can. BLG getting a small gold lead for themselves, but this game is getting only closer and closer as we check out the replay here. This fight looked good. Bin coming in on this Gnar, he's just saying, look, I'm a team fight champion. I don't care what you did to me in the laning phase. But it's this Jichoyi who just makes sure, yeah, no, we're still here to play as anyone's legend.
Just ridiculous damage there. The combination of the Moonlight Vigil in with the auto attack. The empowered auto attack of the Camille means that the Jinx is no more, but the damage is kind of already done there. You can see there's Xiaohao not having that flash, not really able to kind of move back forward on top of that, and that does mean that Soul Point has been reached here by the side of BLG. They are still only 2,000 gold ahead, but having that 3 dragons in pocket means they can kind of pick and choose when and where they go for a fight. They can pick and choose when and where they want to make something happen, and right now it does feel like AL are feeling, I gotta say, it feels like AL are definitely feeling a little bit more confident in a way because they're the ones that are kind of, you know, looking for proactive plays.
They're going for things. They're trying to at least start the fight, which we couldn't say for a lot of the for some of the rest of this series. Yagao being a little bit cheeky there. I'm wondering for ZDZ, as the game goes on, is he going to opt into a hull breaker? Because that would open up a lot of the map and definitely allow him to continue solo killing Bin, who still at 23.5 minutes has not actually finished the call. He didn't buy it immediately to start the game. I just think this is a funny little piece of a bit of tech as he's gonna finish it now. Oh, 23-minute call. There we go. Shout out Bin. All right, Bin's back in the game, everybody.
I mean, if he finishes up an item here and gets up to 2 items, I think it's worth. That's just my opinion right now.
Yeah,
but
he's backing.
We'll see.
Hold
we'll
up.
see. There.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. It's worth it for him to go to a 23-minute call completion as he gets the hull breaker to try and deal with the ZDZ side lane. But now we're coming back into the game. Stopwatch available for Elk. He's got Flash and Ghost as well. That stopwatch is pivotal because it means that he's going to be able to go into stasis if he gets jumped on by the Diana and the Camille, or either or of those champions. GA finish up for Yagao, 4-0 on 1 on this Jace, and 50 CS ahead, or just a bit over it, or under it, I should say. He is looking fantastic on this pick for the moment. Definitely had a couple of moments during MSI on the Jace where it weren't ideal for the BLG mid laner, but has definitely been looking like he's been putting in the hours to learn this one here as Yagao does get hooked off, but it's a bit of a separation. Shun is getting kind of 1v2'd on that side there, as you can see. Aphelios forced to flash back over the side. There's going to be a Super Mega Jet Rocket. Now ZDZ thought he had a bit of a flank, but just not to be right there. And this is a big moment here for the side of BLG. They haven't killed anybody, but they've forced a hell of a lot of resets.
I was going to say, with all of the summoner spells available for everyone before that fight, single pick can start up the Baron. They're going to pull for this Jichoyi, no flash.
Here we go. It's a bit of a flip.
All the way back.
Xiaohao has flash. Can he get into the pit? That's the question. 2,000 down on the health bar. They're going to go in! Xiaohao gets the steal, and they will get everybody else out. He will die, but he will die a hero for AL.
It buys them time, and now with this Baron buff, there's a lot that AL can do. They can start to push back on some of these waves that are stacking against them. BLG, no one there to mark where Xiaohao was. A little bit sloppy coming out from our first place team, and definitely what you do not want to see is a BLG fan, as this is the last game. 1100, 1137 is the last number I saw right there. Xiaohao sacrificing his life, valiantly so, to get his team that Baron.
There you go. Seeing if you can maybe catch out ZDZ. Yeah, they're going to look for him now in the brushes. Not going to catch him out with the ultimate. They don't actually know he's there. Now they do, as he hit him with the accelerated shock blast. He's going to try and get into the X-Tech ultimatum, maybe go for a hook shot. Wall shot, can't get away. Doesn't have flash. If they can kill off ZDZ, that Baron power play becomes so less powerful. And that is a big pick now coming in here for the side of BLG.
They need to rush into mid lane, however. 45 seconds before this dragon. It is going to be the Ocean. Bilibili can drop this objective, but obviously getting a soul for yourself would be nice. They're just going to be coming into the pit very, very late, and instead I think would want to be able to push out these waves, get priority in mid, shove out this bottom wave that Harder is starting to escort. Anyone's Legends, they're starting to crumble a little bit on the edges here, but not quite out of this game yet.
Do you believe? You can see now that Yagao 5-0-2. Yagao is earning his Yagoat accolade because he has just been fantastic. Look at that TP ward at the back. I will say that again because I thought there was a TP for ZDZ, but there is not. He could have been on a bit of a flank, but looks like we're going to see the Dragon Soul being started up here now. ZDZ going to have to walk all the way from the base to try and get here on time, but do BLG know the timing on it? That's the real question. Xiaohao is off to the backside. They don't know exactly where the jungler is. Over the side of AL, here we go. They're going to go forward, try and get the steal off on this. No, Dragon Soul completed. They're going to jump straight onto Elk on the backside. It's when he goes gold, and he has that stopwatch used. Now ZDZ trying to see if he can do it. Oh, Xiaohao misses completely from his ultimate, and now Elk trying to put down damage. ZDZ jumps back in with a hook shot, wall shot, and now you can see the rest of BLG are trying to just turn around and burn down these health bars. So much damage that isn't even involved with the Jinx able to be utilized here, and Bin isn't done. He's like, oh, you remember when you bullied me? You remember when you killed me 5 times? I shall chase you down. Will not be able to get any more kills.
Yeah!
But Bin, with a massive ultimate, keeps his team in it, and they get themselves the Ocean Soul.
Yeah, the Ocean Soul as well is now going to push out on multiple different lanes, opening up the inhibitor in mid lane, grabbing a tier 2 in the top lane. BLG feels like they've awoken from a slumber. AL poking the sleeping bear. Well, guess what? Now you got to deal with all the consequences. Are you the honeypot, or are you going to be able to get away from this one? Ocean Soul in their back pocket, a massive team fight victory. Elk, who stayed alive for so long, bought so much time for his team. He played that perfectly with that stopwatch and his flash, getting so much damage and being able to draw away some of the other members. We're going to take a look at it in this replay. Watch Elk as everybody tries to engage. Xiaohao not in position. Even with this Camille flank, just cancels the ultimate, even the Nautilus ult as well.
Yeah, and then Xiaohao goes in. Completely, unfortunately, whiffs the ultimate. Actually, it brings Yagao straight in on top of the Aphelios, and Bin, alongside his mid laner, just jumps at the opportunity to take down the AD carry of AL. And look, I gotta give it to AL. You tried everything. You almost got the perfect fight. Elk wasn't really involved in it. I would love to see the damage numbers come back out after the last fight, because I don't think Elk did a lot at all, but it doesn't matter because Yagao is ridiculous. He's so huge.
He is having another MVP performance, another reminder for everybody who might put some disrespect on his name that he is a legend, he is a veteran for a reason in this league. He has shown time and time again his ability to showcase his talent, his ability to carry games, and hey, he can do it on Annie, he can do it on Jace. I think if you said, hey, this guy's going to carry on Annie, people would scoff a little bit, but to do it on Jace, there's a reason why people may mock my region for their North American Jace. The LPL Jace just hits different.
The LPL Jace. Yagao's Jace in this particular game. It's just better, man. It's just better. But now he's got himself the Sorelda's Grudge. He's building himself up. And again, Bin was 0-5 at one point. He's now 4-5-4. He's been able to stop the bleeding. He's been able to pick up a couple of kills, and he's got himself a Randuin's Omen. So his job, he knows what his job is. His job is to jump on top of the Aphelios. That is what he does. And that's exactly what he's looking to aim to do, as we can wait to see now where they want to try and show this next little bit of a fight. No stopwatch this time, though, on Elk. There is a stopwatch on top of the Aphelios. That could be key, as the Baron going to be spawning in just under a minute.
And when we're looking at summoner spells again, 45 seconds before that Baron, there is summoner spell in advantage for anyone's Legend. Bin, Yagao, and Elk
Oh.
do not have their flashes. Shun with this flank.
They're going in for a huge amount of flanking, trying to see if they can take out the tanks before anything really happens, and Elk gets a kill and gets excited. Yagao is the target for the moment from Xiaohao, and on top of the Aphelios, he's trying to turn back this damage. Holy hell! That chase is fed, even has the GA to keep himself alive for the moment. Jumps back in, brings down the hammer, and Yagao refuses to die. You can kill him once, but you can't kill him twice, and BLG will end this series and continue their unbeaten series run.
Yagao just doesn't care. He says, it's another day in the office, another day on this stage that I'm going to grab myself a win. BLG, they stay undefeated. They silence some haters and some doubters. This series was a little too close for everybody's liking. Anyone's Legends, man, I don't know what to say. I feel bad for them because they came so close to upsetting our first seed.
They got close but no cigar. BLG continuing themselves up to a 5-0 record. Great start here for the MSI runner-ups. The runner-ups of LPL Spring. They are just kind of building themselves up. It wasn't easy. It was a scrappy affair, but this is the thing that separates the good from the great. A good team will lose this series. A great team will battle it out and still come out with a W. They might not look clean. It might not look like they're the greatest team in the world right now, but a win's a win, and that is all that matters at the end of the score sheet.
I'm still a little bit worried. I think that right now the trend for BLG is they need to be able to keep their nose down. They need to be able to stay on top. I will say, if they do end up losing the game, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. Obviously, they are in first for a reason, taking so many dominant games, and a single loss isn't going to suddenly plummet you down the standings. But being able to say you had an undefeated season in terms of series, it's got to feel nice, and getting that undisputed first place at the end of this regular season would feel pretty good. But for them, especially with their competition that's coming up, they're going to be facing JDG at the end of this week. They cannot be looking like this.
Absolutely. And look, for BLG, if you're going to have a bad week or a bad series, this is definitely the bad one to have a bad series. Yeah, it's right now. Don't be worrying about everything else. You got the win. Throw it to the back of your mind. You've TT later this week. I believe they play on Thursday. And then, as you mentioned, they have got JDG, our final game, on Sunday after the end of this week. So this is still a team that can go up to 6-0 before they go up against JDG. And again, JDG have had their number all year. This will be the sixth time we've been seeing this matchup so far, the split between best of fives and best of threes. JDG have yet to really lose any of those series, so I'm curious to see if BLG have come out with anything different to try and, change that perspective coming into this particular matchup.
Would be interesting. I want to give credit over to Anyone's Legends. They have had such close series week by week, and if they can continue this performance, it won't reflect their series score, but I think it can tell a lot of where this team is at right now and where their development is as they continue to get better, continue to find more and more of some winning ways for them going further into the season.
Absolutely. I think AL, it's a bittersweet moment. I think they can definitely hold their heads high and say, look, we pushed them to the limits. We did a lot of good in that. I think their ganks around topside in that particular last game were exceptionally powerful and just constantly shifting the narrative of the focus, I suppose, on BLG, where everyone says, yes, bot lane is the meta, but top lane can still give you some, some earnings, some yieldings, if you will, if you do invest a little bit of time onto it. It's unfortunate for them that last team fight, it literally all goes wrong. They don't hit any of the big ultimates. The Moonlight Vigil, the Moonlight Vigil and the Moonfall don't go anywhere. Harder on this Cassante, I'ma say it, not it. It just ain't it, my dude. You did nearly less damage than the Nautilus. That is just unfortunate, and that should just never be happening. You should be taking out the Jinx at all times, and he just never had an impact.
Yeah, and you look at the top side of the map, right? Like Bin and Shun being pretty close together. We're looking at the opposite side for AL, ZDZ and Xiaohao having a similar amount of damage damage. It feels pretty bad when you look at your mid lane. 10% of the total damage. You're relying on our top side. I want to give another shout out to Chiyoyi. Sorry.
Yes.
Long
it's
day.
a long even.
Long
it's like
day.
7 a.m. for you.
Exactly. Got a lot of games under my belt today. For him, as a new fresh face, a fresh AD carry, there were moments in that game, especially in game number 2, but even in 3, where this Aphelios was going crazy in these fights.
Yeah, he really was. But before we go on into this game, we're going to send it over to Wendy, who's standing by with the victorious Elk.
Hi guys, welcome to interview, and now we have Elk from BLG with us. Congratulations on today's win, and now BLG is on a 5 winning streak, and now you are the top teams on the list. So tell us more about how satisfied you are with the team's performance right now. 那首先恭喜你们今天又获得了比赛的胜利，现在 BLG 也是来到了5连胜，进一步的稳定了榜首的一个位置。所以说现在你可能对队伍整体的一个表现有多大满意呢？
就是我觉得我们整体其实都是就打得现在更稳了吧，然后就希望我们就是能在之后的比赛就是不要因为就是现在没有输过，然后而感到骄傲吧，或者有自满吧，就是希望我们还是每一场比赛都是认真的去对待，然后去就是进行我们的游戏吧。对。
Definitely, we feels like right now we are just played more stable in the actual games. But although we didn't get any losses, but we still try not to be overconfident. We just would like to focus on every single games, try our best to play more meticulously, and try our best to win match by match, go forward step by step. And definitely, we are all looking forward to that. Talk a bit more about today's game. In both game 2 and 3, the opponent's team they just open Melio, this champion, the new champion, and you guys just pick it. And you have picked 2 different marksmen to cooperate with this new champion Melio. Tell us more about your thoughts towards Melio and how did the team manage to maximize the strengths of this new champion? 那也想问一下新英雄米利欧的问题。2、3局对面是都有放给你们，你们也是都一选拿到了。也比较好奇，可能你们对于这个新英雄有什么样的一个看法？你也是拿到了2个不同的 AD 来配合他嘛，所以说也想问一下，怎么样能够最大化这个英雄的优势呢？
首先我觉得米利欧这个英雄就是对整个团队的帮助其实非常大吧。然后还有一点就是这个英雄其实也对就是大和 AD 的加成其实也非常高的。所以说我觉得米利欧这个英雄就是那个优先级还是挺高的吧。然后我觉得这个英雄就是非常适合就是大和 AD 吧。
It feels like Melio is definitely a very great champion, and we just would like to put him on a very high priority. We feels like he can be really can be a very good utility champion, very functional, and also he can really help the late game marksmen a lot to help those marksmen to carry the game. So after that, we feels like this can be a very good champion to play and to pick on stage. And definitely, I agree with that. Let's talk a bit more about Game 3. Game 3, the opponent's team they have this Diana and also Kamir, and to be honest, we feels like they are quite troublesome to you guys maybe in the early game because they just tended to make so many tower dives around the top lane. So from the mid game, what's the main strategies from BLG in order to bounce back to win Game 3? 那其实也想问一下第三局对面是选下了皎月和青钢影，同时呢，他们也一步步的在上路建立自己的优势，感觉其实有一点小小的棘手。那你们中期更多的策略是怎么样能够稳扎稳打拿下比赛的呢？
因为其实第3局对面的就是整个重心其实还是比较针对我们上路的嘛，然后但其实我们上路就陈这边也一直在说他手没事嘛，然后还是能玩的，然后再加上我们就是选出了金克斯和米利欧这2个组合，其实我们在前面下路也取得了优势吧，所以说就是慢慢玩，然后等待打团就可以了。
Yeah, after the ban pick phase, we feels like AL they would like to target a lot towards the top lane, but inside the game, Bin just told us it's okay. He can just handle with the situations, and because we have the Jinx and Melio Baldu, so we feels like we can build some advantage from the bot lane. And after that, we just slow down the pace a bit and try to seek more opportunities to make the mid to late game team fights and win the game through those team fights. And also, my last question is: today is actually your 4th anniversary of LPL debut. We have seen your growth step by step, but talking a bit more about the future. In the future, what kind of player do you want to be? Do you want to be known as? 那最后一个问题也是，其实今天也是 ELK 选手 LPL 的出道4周年嘛，一步以来我们好像有见证着你一步一步的成长，所以说也想问一下，可能在未来你想要成为怎么样的选手？你想被大家以怎么样的选手所熟知呢？
因为 LPL 出现了非常多的就是很多 AD 嘛，然后就是我希望我自己能在以后就是做到就是让大家一提到或者一想到 LPL AD， 然后可以有我就是有自己的名字之一吧，然后就希望被大家更加记住吧，对。
If you're thinking about LPL, definitely LPL is the region is really famous for so many famous AD players. So maybe in the future, I want to be the player that if you're thinking about LPL, you can thinking about me, Elk, as well. I just want to leave those more highlights, more memories to all of you. And definitely we're all looking forward to that. And congratulations again. 再次恭喜你们，后面加油。And back to you guys. Bye bye.
Thank you so much, Wendy. I love those little things as well. You know,
Yeah.
first of all, before we even dissect any of the answers, happy 4th anniversary there to you, El.
Yes.
Glad that you were able to get yourself a W on the day. And again, like he said at the end, many more to hopefully come.
For sure, especially with how bright this year has been so far for him and the rest of the BLG squad. I think El's got a really fun career ahead of him, and that was it. That's all of our games right there. We've got